Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome and thank you for sparing out time today. Time flies so fast that we have already stepped in the last month of the year. And with what an incredible transformation in plastic waste management rules. We have witnessed new guidelines, amendments, modules, and now updated advanced versions of modules as well. And today we will be talking about Module 1A, that is, updated advanced version of Module 1. Module 3, which is generation and transfer of EPR certificates by PWPs, capacity building of stakeholders. Today's keynote speaker is Mr. Abhishek Garg. Speaker is Mr. Sudhakar Pandey. We also request to pay your kind attention to the meeting rules. The meeting will be recorded. The meeting shall be based on Chatham rules, that is, only the discussions would be recorded without attributing to the speakers. Q&A session shall be taken in the last. Kindly restrict yourself kindly restrict the discussion to the mentioned topic, that is Module 1A, Module 3, and capacity building. Note that all the attendees are on mute. For any queries, please use the raise hand feature. The moderator shall unmute and allow to speak in the Q&A round. Kindly introduce yourself and your organization briefly and ask your question. You may also please keep entering your queries in the chat box. Now, I request Mr. Abhishek Garg to please initiate the webinar.
Sure. Thank you, Ipshita, and thank you everyone, to again come and discuss. And this has been a roller coaster ride with, PW under the PWM rules. So I'll just request to, share the presentation. Sudhakar, Ipshita. Yeah. So yes, so recently on this month, last month, CPCB has launched two key things, and that is Module 1A and Module 3. So it is already active, and we'll just go deep into what has happened there, and I'll just tell you what are the impacts and how things has to be taken care of. So yeah, go ahead, Sudhakar. So yes, so three key things what we will be discussing today, and this is a summarized highlight as to what are the key things on these modules. So yes, on 19th of November, CPCB released this and about the notification about the the new module 1A and module 3 and the capacity building. So what is module 1A which we all are talking about? Module 1A is a module which takes care of registration of PIBOs, and this is the updated and advanced version of module 1. So previously what a registration we had been doing under the module 1 is it has been upgraded, and a advanced version of the same has been published. Now, what is the key feature of this module 1A? The one of the very key feature and a very detailed discussion all around we have been discussing is about real-time capture of procurement and sales of plastic packaging, and also cross-validation of transaction between PIBs and PWP. Just to for stress upon is that the all these details and transaction will have to be updated at the say invoice level on the portal, and how this will happen we'll discuss about in the upcoming slides. But this is regarding the plastic packaging transaction between the PIBOs. So for, let's say, brand owner, the plastic packaging procurement, it becomes a key thing. For a producer, it becomes plastic packaging procurement as well as plastic packaging sales to the brand owners at the invoice level. So Sudhakar will take you through how that has changes has impacted on the portal and what needs to be done. Second, and the very important, through this updated module 1A, the fixing of annual EPR target will be done through online mechanism, and will be dynamic basis the sales, purchase, and the 7A module when we apply for renewal. So the target will be fixed on the basis of last year shortfall maybe, or this year total dynamic calculation through the system, and ultimately giving you the target as per the slab, which will also include the recycling percent, the use of recycled plastic content and reuse as applicable. Further, I already spoke about that the new targets things have been added into the new this module 1A. Previously, when the older version of module 1, the target only came up till the extent of category 1, category wise collection and recycling target. However, in the new module version 1A, the targets are being categorized into multiple section, which is, as I said, recycling, reuse, use of recycled plastic content, and category wise collection and maximum end of life target as well. The existing registrations which are approved registration has already been mostly migrated by the CPCB, and there will be a communication which will be coming out to the all the PIBOs as to about the migration being done. It's still under the transition phase. Most of the brand owners still receiving the emails, and some are still under the migration stage. But yes, the all the for the registered PIBOs, the data will be auto migrated to the new portal. Key things to check there are a lot of changes onto the portal in terms of checklist with which in the upcoming slides, so Hacker will take you through. But yes, there are certain things which you need to critically check and then accordingly communicate it to CPCB. There are certain updated items in the registration checklist which has been now imparted through the module 1A. Also, there is a late fee mechanism, and late fee slab has also been introduced through this module 1A related to late delay in registration application for resubmission. And a very good news is that now the authorized signatory and the login user profile could be changed through this module 1A, which CPCB has considered. But that adds to more complication when we get to the FAQs. There are certain bad news as well. But yes, this is about the module 1A. Module 3, which talks about generation and transfer of certificates by plastic waste processors. First and very foremost thing which I would want to tell to everybody is that if you are obligated PIBO, your fulfillment will only be considered if it only be considered only through the portal generated EPR certificate through this module 3 by the registered PWP only. No offline, no physical certificate will be considered for your fulfillment. All of this has to be done through online module 3 and registered PWP. But before they could issue a certificate, there's an added thing which has been done through this module 3 release publishing by a CPCB is there will be a physical verification of PWPs will be done by the respective SPCBs or PCCs. And there is an online mechanism, or there is an on-site mechanism, and there is an online report submission mechanism, and checklist has also been introduced through this module 3. And on top of that, there is a conversion factor assessment, and thing has also been added as to what will be the conversion factor for the PWPs to issue the certificate. So for each kind of recycler, for example, a recycler, a waste to energy or co-processor, there is separate conversion factor mechanism has been provided, and that Sudhakar will take you through briefly about it. But without physical verification, through the SPCBs, and without their approval, the PWP won't be able to generate the certificates and EPR credits. And yes, this is about it. Further, they have also introduced a capacity building, and they have given exhaustive list of FAQ clarifying a lot of things. One of the bad news I was talking about, that they have clarified in the FAQ that the fulfillment done over and above 25% for last year FY 21-22 could not be carried forward to the further years. So that is one of the concerning news. But yes, there are multiple things things has been done which which can be helping and relieve the pressure. Going ahead, Sudhakar. So before getting into details of the modules, and Sudhakar will take you through, let me just give you a summary as to the overall EPR portal, how it works. For example, as we spoke about, module 1 was which is the older version of the registration of PIBOs is been migrated and updated to migrated to module 1A, which is the updated and advanced version of PIBOs. Now, in the guidance note and the instruction sheet, CPCB has classified this module 1A into two parts, which is stage 1, which is the pre-registration, which talks about filing the application in the defined part A, B, C, D. And stage 2 is post-registration, wherein the real-time transaction of plastic packaging between the PIBO will be taken care of, cross-validation, and all the EPR target would be taken care of post-registration for the subsequent years. Now, one of the key thing in stage 1 about pre-registration, as we already about, there are certain updates on the checklist item for registration. However, there is a subsequent and material change has happened for the registration application of producers specifically. wherein they have been asked details about their plant, their GPS location, latitude, longitude, plant and machinery details, and many more. So that is one of the key things wanted to highlight. And stage two, as I said, it's about the post registration and real time providing update about procurement and sales of plastic packaging between the PIBOs and PWP. Module 2 is the registration of PWPs. There is no change as of now in that. Module 3, yes, the generation and transfer of EPR certificate. And this module has been categorized again into two sections. First is section with is physical verification of plastic waste processor, wherein a designated officer will appoint a regional officer to physically verify the certain details as per the checklist defined, which in subsequent slides you will see, and on the basis of which they will file the online report on the portal, and the designated officer would approve, post which only they would be able to go ahead for generating an issue of EPR certificates. And for generation of issue of EPR certificates, it's a very again a detailed process for the PWPs. For doing that, they need to update the details at the invoices level for the plastic waste procurement, for the production of out of those plastic waste, and then basis the conversion factor and the inventory and sales of the recycled or the output of the process, that there will be a APR potential would be generated. So the PWP to have a wallet and of a APR credit potential, they need to update the plastic waste procurement at the invoice level. They need to update the production details. They need to also update the sales details, and basis which there will be a potential of EPR credit would be allowed, and then only they can transfer those EPR credit to the relevant PIBOs. Module 4 talks about is the annual return filing. Currently, it is not released, but it is under development, and very soon you will see how the module 4 would be coming and what were the things coming there. Module 5 is levying of environmental composition, which is again a part for the PIBO EPR portal, which will be updated. However, the guidelines are released. This module 5 on the portal is not yet released. And module 6 is about third party audits, which will be released soon. And module 7 is the last in training and capacity building of stakeholders, one of the past which is released along with module 1, 3, and capacity building. Under the capacity building and FAQs, they have clarified around 60 questions on the FAQs, which gives further clarity to the relevant, stakeholders under the PWM rules. Going ahead. Sudhakar. Yeah. So from here, Sudhakar will take you through about the detail of the advanced version of module 1, and subsequently I'll be coming back again in the Q&A session to answer your questions. And feel free to put up your questions. We are there. So over to you, Sudhakar.
Yeah. So thank you, Abhishek sir, for setting up the context and giving the key highlights of this updates to the audience. So basically, I will try to explain the details in the subsequent slides. And firstly, I would like to set the understanding of the audience basis comparing the module one with its advanced version, which is module 1A. So what we have seen in this module one. Yeah. In the module one, we were providing the general details like the company details we were providing. In the module one, yet the same remains. There is no change in the providing the company details. Whereas for the authorized person details, the module one gives the facility to update and change the user profile. I mean, you can update the authorized person, you can change the credentials. Then in the part A, we were providing the status of our compliance on the plastic seat and carry bags, whereas in the module 1 it has been extended. I mean, you have to provide the details of the compliance with respect to the non-woven bags and the SUP items, and you have to provide the thickness of the plastic packaging. For the part B, you have to we were providing the details of the consent under the Air and Water Act. In the module 1A, we have to provide the application number as well for of those CTOs. In the part C, in the module 1, we were providing the details of the fees generated in the pre-consumer form and the post-consumer forms. Now in the module 1A, it has been extended and you have to provide the percentage of the recycled plastic in these pre-consumer waste as well as in the post-consumer waste. Then in the part C, in the module one, we were providing the details of the plastic packaging procured and sold between the PIBOs, and that we were providing for the registered and the non-registered entity. Now in the module 1A, as Abhishek sir has also mentioned, ki the real-time information of procurement at GST invoice level will be captured. So this GST real-time information of procurement is being captured in the is being auto fetched for the some cases, and in some cases you have to key the manually of this information. It's totally depends upon the type of the engagement between the PIBOs and the type of procurement and sales. Now in the part D, we were providing the details of we were getting the EPR target category wise. Now in the module 1A, it has been extended and we are able to see our target on the minimum recycling and maximum end of life level. We are getting another maximum end of life level target. We are getting use of recycled material target as well as the reuse of plastic packaging target. Now, in the part what we have observed, there is additional information which producers needs to provide during filing the registration. They have to provide the details of their facility like GPS area. They have to provide the pictures, geotag picture and videos of their processes, managing the raw material production as well as the plant machinery details, which is in line with the process that they are adopting for production of the plastic packaging. They have to also provide the disaster management plan as well. So this is additional requirement which needs to be provided by the producers only. Then in the module 1, we were submitting the application and we were making the payment of the application fee. Now in the module 1A, along with the application fee, if you are not submitting our application on time and there is a delay in submission of the application, you have to do the payment of the late fees as well. So there is the late fee mechanism is also introduced in this module 1A. Now, to make the understanding more clear, I will take you through the certain visuals that I have picked from the portal. So, in the section 5E and the 5F of the regulatory compliances, you have to select your status in regards to the thickness of plastic sheet, which should be more than 50 microns. The carry bags, I mean 75 microns with effect from the 30th September and the 120 micron from the 31st December. And you have to also ensure you are not manufacturing, using, selling, ban your SUP items, and you are compliant with respect to the non-woven bags, for which the GSM should be less than 60 microns. So you have to check your status on this, and then you have to provide the thickness of the plastic packaging. Now in the section 7A, where we were providing our plastic waste footprint at the consumer pre-consumer level, at the post-consumer level, the plastic packaging, what recycled percent contains, that is also needed to provide it. I mean, when you are providing the details of the pre-consumer at the category level, you have to provide the recycling plastic percentage attached to this category wise pre-consumer as well as for the post-consumer plastic packaging waste. Now, the next step is added in this portal is the procurement details and the sales details that has to be provided by the PIBOs at the real time basis. Before going in details, I will just set up the concept what it means. So this procurement and sales details is totally dependent upon the engagement of the PIBOs with its supplier, or to whom they are selling its product, plastic packaging. So let's say you are a brand owner and you have engaged with a registered supplier who is selling you the material, and you are procuring the plastic packaging with that supplier. So in the section 8A, firstly, you have to click on the add button where you have to provide the plastic procurement done by you from that registered entity. And you have to put the details like whether that supplier is the producer or importer or the PWP. And you have to provide the details of the invoice number that from the invoice that supplier has raised to you. Once you enter these three details, this portal will auto fetch all the details of the plastic packaging that you have procured, the quantity, the category of plastic, as well as the GST number of that supplier. But we have to understand how this portal is taking the details of this category, quantity, and all those things. So this is basically dependent upon once the supplier is entering the details of the material supplied to you. So firstly, this supplier has to go on his portal, and he has to upload the details of the cells made by him which you have procured. So again, the seller will select the registration type to whom he is selling. I mean, he will select your registration type, that you are registered entity, and then he will select you as a brand owner, and then he will select the type name of your entity, the address, state, mobile details, all those things he will select. He will also put the GST number, bank account number. I mean, this GST and bank account numbers and IFSC code is of the supplier, and he will enter the amount that he has paid in the GST, and he will enter the quantity that he has sold you, as well as the percentage of the recycled plastic attached to the sold plastic. Then he will put the invoice number, and he will upload the invoice details. Once all these details he is uploading on the portal, then only these details will be auto populated and auto fetched in the procurement details of the producer that I already explained in the previous slide. So in this way you will be able to produce the details of your procurement made with the registered supplier. However, if you are dealing with a non-registered supplier, and if you are procuring your metal from the non-registered entity, you have to manually key all these things. I mean, you have to manually key all the details that this portal is asking, which is a very tedious task, and a disadvantage of dealing with a non-registered entity. So in this section, you have to select the unregistered type of that supplier. You have to select that entity type, whether it is a manufacturer, whether it is a producer, or whoever it is. Then you have to select the name of the entity. You have to write basically here. Then you have to write, select the state of the entity, where it is placed, where what is the address of my supplier, what is the mobile number, and all those things like the category of plastic and GST and the quantity of those procurement you have to provide. And then you have to submit the invoice copy which supplier has raised to you. So this all things needs to be done by the brand owner who is procuring the material from the non-registered supplier. So this is the manual task that we have to do if we are dealing with a non-registered entity. Now, I'm just giving the highlights of the what the things has been added specifically for the producer in their application form. So firstly, producer have to, go in the section 9 where he has to allocate his locations on the map given on this portal. So there is the location is of the producer facility is being, basis the longitude and the latitude, and he has to provide the details of the plot area of his facility. Further, this producer is required to provide the geotagged pictures as well as videos for the raw material storage area, production process, and the dispatch process, how they are doing in this raw material handling and production process. Also, they have to provide the videos of these processes as well. The next additional thing for the producer is they have to provide the plant and machinery details. What are the plant and machinery they are using for processing and production of their plastic packaging, as well as they have to provide what are the raw material they are taking as an input, and what are the plastic packaging category they are producing. So all those things they have to provide. They have to also provide the power load of their plant. I mean, what is the section power load of their plant in kilowatt hour? Then they have to provide the disaster management plan they have made at their on-site and off-site. Also, they have to provide certain, the PIBOs have to, PIBOs has to provide if they have obtained any exemption from the use of recycled plastic by the CPCB, they have to provide the status of that exemptions. I mean, if you're a producer at the importer, and if you're not able to meet the obligation of the recycled plastic, then this you have to select as a yes. And if you have obtained the exemptions, you have to upload the copy of that exemption obtained from the CPCB. Then in the application of category 1 for the food packaging, you have to provide the status whether you are in application of packaging of the food packaging and you are using category 1 plastic. So that is also needed to be provided. And this is only for the brand owner because they are packaging the food in their business. Then the EPR target is being now, given basis the minimum recycling target, maximum end of life target, and for the use of recycled material target as well. So these three things are common for the PIBOs, whereas for the brand owner, the additional target, which is the reuse target, is also being auto-populated on the portal. And this is in line with the guidelines of the 16th February issued by the CPCB. Then in this portal, what actions needs to be taken by the PIBOs or the entity, that is basically we have summarized. This is the position where they are landing. If the PIBO is the entity which is registered, firstly they need to check whether they have been migrated to the module 1A or not. If they have been migrated to the module 1A, they need to cross verify the migrated data. Then they have to check the status compliance on the plastic sheet, carry bags, SUP items, as well as on the non-woven bags, which is now added in the module 1A. Then they have to verify the quantity that they have provided in the pre-consumer as well as in the post-consumer, which is already given in the 7A, and I have already spoken about it. Then they have to check the procurement and sales details, whether the procurement and sales details in the migrated module 1A is available or not. And if there is any anomalies, they have to communicate it to the CPCB. And suppose now the entity is landing on the registration process. I mean, they have applied on the CPCB portal and their registration in process. They have to wait till they are getting the approval from the CPCB. And post approval, they should check all the things I have explained here. Now, if the entity registration is rejected, he has to reapply on the portal as per the new application form. Now, if entity is unregistered, so definitely they have to apply on the CPCB portal as per the module 1A. And how you will check all this information if you are a registered entity? So you firstly have to go in the CPCB portal. You have to refresh your dashboard by clicking Control Shift plus R, and then you have to cross verify all these details what I have spoken about. And any discrepancy you have to communicate to the CPCB. Now, let's summarize what I have spoken in the capturing of the real-time information of the procurement and sales. So suppose you are a brand owner, your entity is a brand owner, and you are procuring your material from the registered entity. So the details will be auto-fetched once you key the information of who is the my supplier, whether he is the producer, and the invoice number. The details of all the procurement will be auto-fetched at the GST invoice level. Then suppose if you are dealing with an unregistered entity, all the details has to be manually entered by you. For the sales and all those details, the portal doesn't provide any facility for the brand owner to enter their sales detail, and this matter is under the consideration of the CPCB as well. Suppose if the entity is the producer, then if he is dealing with the registered entity and he is procuring the plastic packaging from the registered entity, then he has to he will be able to get the details from this portal, and if his supplier is registered. And if he is dealing with the unregistered entity, all these details will be manually entered by the producer. And for the sales details which he is doing to the PIBOs, the producer has to manually enter all these details. Then for the importer, all the procurement as well as sell, whether if he is dealing with the registered or the non-registered entity, all these details needs to be entered manually by the importer. So we can see there is a lot of work is coming on the head of the producer as well as on the importer. Yes. Then the facility which I were talking about in this module 1A, the PIBOs will be able to change the login credential as well as the name of the authorized person and contact details. So how it will happen? Firstly, you need to go on your dashboard and you need to select the user profile, and you have to just replace the details, the updated details here, and you have to verify the details. So an OTP will come, and once you submit that, once you enter the OTP, this authorized person details will be changed on the portal. Now, the late fee mechanism which we are talking about, so you all can see these are the payment details which we are used to make the payment at the filing of the our registration. And but if there is any delay in the submission of our application, there will be the late fee mechanism for which the slabs has given. So you all can read out what is the percentage and of the our late fee submission, and this is totally dependent on the time, the delay time you are taking in submitting the your registration. Then what actions needs to be taken? Immediate actions. The PIBOs are required to check that their migrated data, whether their data has been migrated on the portal or not. Then the PIBOs cannot deal with the registered supplier if they are doing, they need to ensure their suppliers are getting registered through the CPCB centralized portal. In case of anomalies, the producer are required to communicate to CPCB via emails. And the only invoices mentioned with the EPR invoice number must be considered for procurement as well as with the sales. The PIBOs are required to collect the additional details in case of unregistered suppliers. So these are the immediate actions that needs to be taken by the PIBOs. Now, the CPCB is, facilitating the additional tabs on this portal. Like we have seen this, the credit exchange, the consolidated available credits tabs are yet to come on the portal, and these will be, released soon on the CPCB EPR portal for the PIBOs. So this is it with respect to the PIBOs module 1A advanced version. Now I will take you through the module 3, which is for the generation and transfer of the EPR certificate by the PWPs. So in this module 3 is basically divided into two sections. The section first is the physical verification of PWP by the concerned SPCB as PCC. After section 1, there is a section 2 where PWP will be able to generate and transfer the certificate to the PWPs. So like already Abhishek sir has explained, firstly there will be physical verification of the PWP by SPCB as PCC, and once this audit is approved by the concerned department, then only the PIBOs will be able to generate the certificate. So when I'm stating the concerned department, the concerned DO of that SPCB will assign the audit of the PWP to RO, and RO will go to the facility of the PWP for the physical verification, and he will submit the details of the audit and all those things to the RO, and post RO recommendation, the DO will approve the PWP for the generation of transfer certificate. And during the audit, physical audit of this PWP, the RO will assess and evaluate the conversion factor of the PWP. So this is the physical verification of PWP. How I have explained that there will be a divisional officer, and the regional officer, he will go and check the plant and machinery details of the PWP. He will check the power rating, sanction power load, and all those things he will check, and he will evaluate the conversion factor. And after that he will submit the report to his DO, who will process the report, and if once he approves the PWP, then only the PWP will be able to generate the EPR certificate. And if the PWP audit is not approved and he has not got the audit clearance, the PWP has to resubmit the application form. I mean, he has to reapply for the grant of registration. Then, while I was speaking about the conversion factor, what it means, if there is a recycler, I mean the PWP is the recycler, the conversion factor will be the quantity of the output that is producing with the input of the plastic packaging. For the waste energy, the conversion factor will be the output of the energy received from the boiler. And for the waste oil, the energy consumption per ton of the oil in the joules, it will be the conversion factor for the waste oil plants. For the co-processing plants, the energy consumption per ton of the clinker in megajoule will be the conversion factor for the co-processing plants. So when this RO will go for the physical verification, he will carry this exhaustive checklist which has the 17 checkpoints. He will put the details of company details of the PWP and all those details like the what are the plant and machinery available with this PWP, what is the sanction power loads, all those things he will update on this checklist and he will submit it to the his RO, which is the DO, which is the designated officer of the SPCB. Once the SPCB DO approves, then only the CPCB will be able to generate the certificate. So this screenshot is basically defining how the physical verification status will flow. What is the flow of the physical verification? So this tab is basically for the SPCB. They will allocate the PWP to the RO and they will, approve the PWP. If they are approving, then the PWP will move on the section 2. If they are not approving, PWP has to again reapply for their registration. Then this slide basically represents the workflow of certificate generation and transfer by the PWP. For after getting the approval from the DO, firstly they have to provide their procurement, they have to provide the details of the production, and they have to maintain their inventory as well at the item level. Then post which they if once they sell the material to their consumers, they have to multiply the sales details with the conversion factor which is being automatically on the portal, and thereafter this portal will generate the certificate. It will give it will enable the features of this generation of the certificate, and post which the PWP will be able to transfer the certificate to PIBOs. So like I said, the PWP firstly have to provide the procurement details. So this is similar to the what we have seen in the procurement of the producer or brand owners. And basically the difference is here ki if the supplier of the PWP doesn't have the GST number, then he has to provide the Aadhaar number. And the actual dates of procurement is also required to be provided by the supplier, and then the invoices needs to be uploaded by the PWP in his procurement details. After providing the procurement details, the PWP is required to provide the production details, like what category of the plastic he has taken as an input for production, and what is the process code which is aligned with his production process. Then quantity of the waste he has taken, and what are the output products. There he has to key what is the product type of plastic, and percentage of the plastic packaging waste recycled by that producer has to be provided as well here. Then quantity of production dates are also need to be provided by the PWP in his production details. Then PWP has to generate the sales receipts, like he has to mark the details of the sales to whom he has made, like the products he has to provide what product he has sold to his buyer, what are the product description, what is the recycling percentage on that product. Then he has to provide the GST number, bank details, IFSC code, and the amount, and as well as the quantity sold to the buyer. Then invoice number the PWP has to upload on this portal, and in this way he will be able to generate his sales receipt. After this, PWP will be able to generate the certificate, and I'm just showing you the dashboard of the PWP, where he will be able to see the registration and renewal of registration facility. He will be able to see what are the plastic packaging waste he has procured, and what are the certificates available, what are the quantity and category of the certificates available in his wallet, and how much EPR certificate he has exchanged to the PIBOs. So this is the wallet of the PWP, where we can see the category wise processing capacity and the potential available with the PWP is reflecting, and we can see here ki, what are the certificate he has transport to, what is the quantity of the certificate he has transport to the PWPs. So all those details will be available on this PWP portal. Now, to generate the certificate, PWP has to select the category of plastic. For what category of plastic is generating the certificate, what is the type of the plastic, and the total certificate value as well. Please note this certificate will be generated in the denominations of the 1, 10, 15, and likes so on. So if PWP is willing to generate the certificate for the 51 metric ton, he won't be able to generate in such a way. Then once the PWP generate the certificate, he has to allocate to whom the certificate he is transferring. So, and what is the category of that certificate? So he will map the details of the category of the plastic for which they are transferring the certificate, and to whom he is transferring, and what is the type of that entity, as well as the name of entity and total certificate value as well. So in this way, this PWP will be able to transfer the certificate to the PIBOs. So this was the with respect to the module 3, and now there is a capacity building button has been added on the CPCB portal, which is for the training programs for the PIBOs as well as for the PWP. So in this capacity building program, the basic introduction to EPR is, this is being provided to the PWPs as well as the PIBOs. So you once you go there on the portal and you click on the basic introduction to EPR, you will be able to know what is the EPR and from where it has been originated, and what are the procedures for filing the registration for the PIBOs and PWPs. And then there is the advanced training module button for that EPR capacity building, where the FAQs related to the registration process as well as related to the real-time capturing of information, all those things are available in this FAQs. So this FAQ, what I have spoken about in the module 1A in the EPR certificate, EPR capacity building, it consists the many questions and the many highlights. So these are we have picked up certain for you. Like first question was, is EPR obligation state-wise or pan-India? So answers are already given there, and there are many more FAQs. Answers are included in the FAQ of that EPR capacity building. So thank you. This was the from my side, and I will hand it over to Ipsita.
Just wanted to add on this, Ipshita, before you start. And Sudhakar, while we will be taking question, can you just see if you can log in into the portal and show them if we can show them the real time how the portal and the things have updated. So you can look into that. So before getting into the Q&A and this thing, just wanted to highlight on the FAQs what has been updated. So Ipshita and Sudhakar, can somebody share that slide, or let me just do that. Is my screen visible, Ipshita?
Yep, it is.
Okay, so as in the FAQ, these are the key FAQs things what we have picked up for discussion on this on this webinar. First is the EPI obligation state-wise or pan-India? Can PIB purchase certificate from any state? They have confirmed that EPR obligation is brand and geography neutral. The certificate have to be procured on the EPR portal. Hence, it doesn't specify that you have to purchase certificate on specific states. Further, will the fulfillment of EPR obligation of previous FY to be carry forward? If it is not to be carry forward, then will it be mandated to fulfill 25% obligation of 21-22? This is the this is the response to that this question from CPCB, which says surplus EPR credits can be transferred to the next year. However, The EPR guideline has been notified on February 16, 2022, and PIBOs have got registered in 22-23. EPR obligation for the period prior to February 2020 shall be fulfilled as per the EPR regime prevalent at that time and shall not get transferred to this year. So they are saying that the EPR fulfillment, whatever quantity we have done for EPR FY 21-22, additional will not be getting transferred to the next year. Whether the certificate numbers remain same every year or it will get changed, one of the question we have been receiving from most of the PIBs, the answer they have given finally is that the certificate number shall remain unchanged. However, for PIBOs registered through offline mode, new registration number shall be provided when they registered on the EPR portal. So yes, if you are offline registered and yet not registered on the online portal, yes, your number will change. But once registered on the online portal, your number will not change. That is what CPCB has confirmed. One of the key things and a real good update which has happened through this module 1A is that let's look at the question and try to answer. I'll summarize in the later. But if the question says if a producer A is selling to producer B and producer B is finally selling to a producer to a brand owner, will EPR obligation of producer A be deducted? Previously, the producer or importer can transfer only to brand owner was the mechanism in module 1. However, through this portal, now they are saying if a producer is transferring, selling to another producer and then it is going to brand owner, can that EPR obligation be transferred to producer B and then brand owner? Then CPCB has clarified yes, EPR target shall be adjusted for both producer to producer as well as producer to brand owner transactions. If X is EPR obligation of producer 1 and he has sold Y to producer or brand owner, then his EPR liability shall be X minus Y, provided all three entities are registered on the EPR portal. Another key question which we have been receiving is on labeling on rigid packaging is very tough. Will BO can get exemption for labeling requirements? The CPCB answered that labeling is to be in accordance with the provision of PWM rules. Further, they have also added whether the ULBs are required to register at portal to generate EPR credit certificate. Yes, and that module has been recently launched post 19 November and we are still assessing and we might come back soon with that update as well. Whether the third party and contract manufacturer is required to register on the portal, all PIBOs are required to register on the portal. So yes, these are the key FAQs which has been released through this capacity building module, and definitely look out for detailed, and we will be sharing the presentation and the guidance note which contains these FAQs.
Thank you everyone for today's session and thank you for your time for joining in. It was really a wonderful session. Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Mr.
everyone.
Abhishek, and thank you,
Thank you.
Sudhakar, for your time and for giving such a wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.